Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Dbacks Dispatch here to talk to you after another series win. Paul Sewell made it interesting, though. Like, he definitely made us sweat for it, but all that matters is we won the series again. Um, I'd have to look back, but the amount of times, like, I don't think we've lost the series this month. I'm almost certain that we've won or split every series in the month of July, um, which is really impressive. And that's why the fact is they're right there in the thick of the playoff hunt. Um, so because they split with the Braves, yeah, they haven't. They haven't. I mean, we had a big break there with the All-Star break, so take a grain of salt with that. So it was the Twins. The last series we lost was the Twins almost a month ago. I say that's really impressive. So,
That's a really
very
nice streak. Not gonna lie, I think going from like the last 30 maybe 40 games, they went on like a 24 and I think 13 stretch, something like that. 24 and 16 stretch. I watched it in your Name Trees video, so they've been playing hot and they continue in the All Star break, which is nice.
yeah. And we're coming up to the trading deadline. Where are we at here now? 6 days away. Trading deadline is next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Arizona time. So yeah, and the team's right in the thick of it. And I think I said on a previous podcast, I think we all said it. Like the first half of July was very important for this team because they had a stretch where we all felt that they could do in go 8-5 and be right in the thick of the wild card race. So then they would be buyers, which at this point I think that they are. So I'm very interested to see how that all goes. But before we kind of do that, let's just check out who's in the chat here. Coach Evan, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. Our guy, AZ Bubba here. Yeah, Gabby got his revenge for sure. We will get into that here for game one. Game one was not good. Game one was not very fun to watch for me. I know for sure. Yeah, it was definitely a major stinker. Bobby Witt literally is on fire. There is nothing that he can't do. It was like he was dominating. Like coming into this series, he had three. It was either 3 or 4 straight games with 3+ hits. He had 3+ hits in this game. Pretty sure he had 3 hits in the finale as well. Like he's on fire. He's batting almost 350. He's got to be in the AL MVP conversation. Like I know everyone's gonna want to give it to Judge, which rightfully so. He's probably gonna hit close to 60 homers again.
If Royals
So
make
it's
the
kind of
playoffs,
hard.
you got to give it to Bobby Witt if he keeps playing at this clip. I mean,
I
330,
think
340
he
average,
has.
the defense he's playing, I think he will make a very good case. I think it's still tough too, especially with Gunner. You still can't count out Gunner.
Yeah,
But if instead of it being a 2-horse race between Judge and Gunner, like we talked about in our second half predictions, I could see Bobby going in there if the Royals make it.
yeah. So Gilbert Diaz made his third career start in this game. He looked really good through his first 2 starts. Like I was really impressed how he looked in his first 2 starts. This start, not so much. Didn't really look that great. Um, so Gabe,
No.
we we all saw how good Diaz was in his first 2 starts. He seemed to get lit up pretty bad in this start. What do you think's the reason?
So, I mean, the main thing we're going to talk about is that he might have been tipping pitches. But I just do want to say, like, he's young. He's from, coming up from AAA. Like, he's bound to have a bad start. It's going to happen to everybody. It's just the way baseball is. But the main thing I noticed was just, he was throwing really good pitches. He was dotting the zone. Like, he was painting corners. And usually when you're painting corners, that's a good sign. Like, you're painting corners, and that means you're usually striking out guys left and right. Like, you should be having a good game, but he was out in about 3 or 4 innings. Like, he really didn't go deep just because, like, one of those doubles or triples or whatever that Bobby Witt hit just dotted that corner, and he was able to get it. So I don't know if you have the photos or the overlay specifically.
So yeah, all right. So yeah, here. I'm sorry you can't see me, everyone. That's fine. For those watching on YouTube and
we
Twitter.
looked at afterwards because I wanted to compare the Bobby Witt at bats just because it was a similar situation, like no man on, just against Bobby Witt. What I noticed was I was looking specifically for where he had his legs, but then I noticed that he would crouch down slightly more. And you can see the difference mostly in this overlay that our producer Josh made of the fastball and curveball. And you can see that little point right there that's not in that gray color. That's the glove. His glove was a little bit higher on, I believe it was the curveballs or
So
fastball.
here's the fastball, which looks like it's just above his waist, and then no, sorry, that one's at
I think
his
that's the
waist.
curveball.
And then if you look in the off speed right here, it's just above his belt.
Yeah, and it was literally just the pitch right after, so it wasn't it wasn't like a lot later. But I looked at the third inning as well, and he didn't do it as much in the third inning. It seemed like maybe they might have talked to him, but then he did it again. Like once Bobby Witt came up, he started doing to do that again. So and that's the thing with tipping. It's like most of the time they won't do it every single time they pitch, but there will be a couple times where they'll give you a little tell, and that will be just enough for you as a batter to like realize what he's trying to do. And in this case against Bobby Witt, like you can clearly see right there, this is the same point in his release. It's right before the leg kick. And it was this, and his shoulder was a little bit more straight and facing the batter with the fastball, and then more like a little bit of a crouch position when he's throwing his off speed. So again, it's very minimal, but with a guy like Bobby Witt, who probably just has a really good eyesight, clearly, because it depends on if you believe the conspiracy theories, that because he has over 1,200 OPS at home and a 700 OPS away from home, which you can go look that up. But yeah, so then this, and then, but I mean, the Royals seem to have a good staff about it. There's a picture of Miguel Castro. If you have that one. So this is the Royals broadcast, and the Royals broadcast they had right there. I mean, for everybody watching, the little corner, that's Miguel Castro. And Miguel Castro right there, they have his fastball, changeup, and slider, I believe that is. So they have a photo of when and if he tips. Obviously, it kind of doesn't matter if you tip if you're throwing a 94 mile per hour fastball straight down the middle of the zone. Doesn't really matter what if they know it's coming or not. Most guys will be able to hit that out. And but yeah, I mean it could also be a misdirection. Like I said, if you believe in conspiracy theories, like they're just putting that out there so everybody can see, so everyone thinks they just have a good coaching staff instead of that they're listening in on the pitch comm.
Yeah. So Miguel Castro comes in, literally first pitch to Bobby Witt, literally right on a tee. Right.
Which I'm sorry, you don't do that to a guy that was runner up in the home run derby not even a full week ago, who was just seeing pitches down the middle. What you doing?
Yeah, it was. But we did have a highlight of ours in this game. Ketel Marte hits a nice home run to left.
Nice catch by the kid too, by the way.
Yeah. Right-handing hitting, Ketel Marte hitting a homer against a lefty. I am shocked, ladies and gentlemen. That never happens. But before we move forward, Brett, what were your thoughts on kind of what Gabe brought up with the whole glove play? Like, I don't know if it's exactly tipping pitches, but it's definitely a tell about with his glove.
Yeah, I don't know if I guess tipping would still be the technical term. I still agree. I think he definitely was in some fashion. I know it's very hard to tell. I showed both the pictures from the group chat to my brother, some of my coworkers, and literally all of them were like, these are the same picture. It was like the office thing where it's like corporate wants to have you find the difference between these two pictures. Like it's the same picture, and that's all of their responses. But even to me, you could definitely tell a little bit with not only glove placement, but when he's more upright throwing the fastball, it doesn't look like he's having to turn his neck as much. Like it doesn't look like he's having to go like this as much versus just being able to, like already facing him when he's throwing his like off speed. It looks like he's like having to turn a little bit more. So these little things again on camera, you might not be able to pick it, but these hitters that are seeing film and that are that close to them, that are 60 feet 6 inches away, they're probably going to see the hand placement at the belt. They're probably going to see the twisted like torso in a different direction. So I think that definitely had a big part of it. But he also wasn't perfect with the location. I know that Bobby Witt Jr. triple, that was a good just piece of hitting. Again, Bobby Witt Jr. is on fire. That was a fastball, a couple, inch or two outside of the zone. Wasn't a bad pitch, but he had a lot of just looked like pitches kind of just over the heart of the plate, over the center of the plate, and not even just Bobby Witt Jr. I think the entire Royals team itself all just hit really well at home. I don't know what their team OPS. Gabe, you said that was Bobby Witt's OPS home versus road.
Yeah, that was Bobby Witt. It's over 1,200 and it's around 700 on the road. And I believe the team OPS at home is like 750, and on the road it's like 620.
Okay, I mean, well, either way, the Royals were getting some pretty good, decent pitches to hit from him, and obviously Miguel Castro later in the game. But I think it was just kind of a mixture of both of things. The Royals scouted him well, and they saw exactly what they were expecting to see when they did scout him.
Yeah, and Bobby Witt was phenomenal in this game. Like we saw, he had a triple, a homer, and a double. Comes up in, I believe, the 6th inning with just needing a single, and this is when shit really hit the fan. So Humberto Castellanos comes in, and he ends up hitting him on the first pitch, right? It looks like right on the wrist or the forearm, and Salvador Perez here, as you can see, is not very happy about it. He definitely feels like it's intentional based on how he's been doing this year. I tweeted out, I don't think it was intentional because we've watched Humberto Castellanos here for the last several seasons. He doesn't have what you would say pinpoint control. I get how it looks from the outside. Yeah, obviously the guy's 3 for 3, has the easiest leg of the cycle left, and you hit him. Yeah, I can get why it might look like it was intentional. I don't feel like it really was, in my opinion.
Not at all. He's a dude fighting for a roster spot. There's no reason, whether it's cycle or not. The D-backs, Torey's not the kind of manager that's going to have a player throw at somebody just because they're hitting close to a cycle. And Castellanos, again, is probably close to losing a roster spot, like depending on the performance and wise. So I don't think he's going out there just trying to hit anybody on purpose. His first pitch in the Cubs game in extra innings, I think it was Nico Horner when he walked him. I was almost up and in and hit him. Very same pitch, sinker. Like he does not have, like you said, Brandon, he doesn't have the best control. That was not intentional by the slightest. I know Salvador Perez was just being a good teammate protecting his player, and I know some Royals fans totally understand it. If the same thing happened to Corbin Carroll, we would have the same reaction, be like, "What the hell are you doing?" It's not intentional at all.
Yeah, I don't think it was. Later, Gabby comes up here in the 7th inning, and he gets hit, and he knew it was coming. Torey wasn't happy about it, how they both got warnings right here. He was very frustrated. He never got a clear explanation still really what was going on, and he wasn't happy about it. I actually have a clip here of what he said after the game.
He's an unbelievable player, and I would never, ever endorse hitting another player. I would never, ever do that. And I know there's some frustration in that, and I didn't think they would hit anybody, and I didn't get a satisfactory explanation. I get it. I can slice it left. I can slice it right. I know what's going on in the Royals clubhouse right now. I know what's going on ours. I know what the umpires are saying. I get it. I totally get it. I just didn't like the way at the end of the day, I got to protect my team. I didn't like Gabby getting plucked.
You talked about him pregame. Then he came out and did what he did. It was a triple. It was a double. It was a homer. Clearly you have to find a way to slow him down to be able to win games, right?
Yeah, he was the one guy that we felt like couldn't beat us today, and it didn't matter when he was up, where he was, in that line of hits. He was coming up big, and he was the guy, and he's a good player, and nobody was better on the baseball field today than him.
Yeah. So some very interesting thoughts there from Tori. Gabe, do you think one of them was intentional? Do you think both were intentional, or do you just say like that's just a part of baseball?
So I think the Royals one was intentional, and I have a reason why. Like, we were talking about the Castellanos against Nico Horner. He threw 3 sinkers up and in at him. Like the fifth, I think the last one I think they actually walked Horner. It wasn't too far away from where he threw the ball to Bobby Witt. Like it's just the guy who hasn't pitched in a week. He's struggling with his command. That sinker is just when he has no control of it, it goes way up and in. Like that pitch is horrible when he can't locate. Like this is a guy who was in AAA like a couple of weeks ago. Like I don't know why. I get like the context. I can understand the context for the Royals. They're like this guy is destroying them. Like he's about to get the cycle. But it's like if they were trying to pitch around, why don't they just walk him or throw the ball outside? Like there's a lot of different ways that they could have handled this if they wanted to avoid facing Bobby Witt. But we've never seen this from the D-backs. Like this isn't the Kirk Gibson D-backs. This is a totally different team. Like we've seen. I think Castellanos said maybe somebody once on purpose. Maybe just Acuna or something. I think it was like an Acuna thing. Maybe it was on purpose, maybe not. But it's also Humberto. But usually it seems to be like a player thing. But nobody. Why would anybody want to hit Bobby Witt in this case? Like, there's no reason for it. And like I said, Humberto, he's been missing up and in like that, since he came up. So it doesn't surprise me that he hit him. It's unfortunate that it happened. But I believe the second one was intentional. I think the issue was, like a lot of other times when these sort of things happen, is that the umpire lost control of the game. If he believed that Castellanos did it on purpose, he should have given warnings right then and there. But he didn't. I think he even said, like, you can sort of read the lips that he said, like, he doesn't think he did it intentionally or whatever, but he didn't do it on purpose. But then Schreiber, if you look at the bat, he threw in at Gabby. He just missed him. His first pitch was a straight shot at Gabby, and he missed him. Second one seemed like they even tried to get him again. Just got enough of the strike zone.
They did the classic. Oh, if I just throw a sweeper right here, it's gonna look like I'm not doing it intentionally.
Yeah, sweeper, and then the fourth one again. It's like you get one. If you want to hit a guy, you get one. Hit him in the butt, whatever. You got him. Everything's done. And I think that's the issue that Lovello took with, which is you get one shot at him. Throw him at a butt. Everybody gets the message. We know what it was. But they threw at him twice. Like, you can't do that. You can't just throw at a guy again, especially because they threw up and in. The first one was around, like, his butt area. It's going to give him a little bit of a stinger, but everyone gets the message. Everyone knows to score. But throwing up and in at him again, near the wrist area, that's how are you not going to take acceptance for that? How are you not going to feel like that's intentional? And that's when the umpires finally gave the warnings, and it's like, great job. Finally, you did your job. You did what you're supposed to do. Like, entire half inning ago.
Yeah, they really should have, like, if they felt that the Bobby Witt hit by pitch was intentional, that's when they should have issued the warnings.
Also, I think it's one of those where if you're going to intentionally hit somebody, either do it. I'd say either do it the first batter of the inning, or if it's the first batter of your inning, I get Alec Thomas was up, so maybe they're like, oh, maybe not him, but Ketel Marte is right after him. If you want to do anything and you want to, do a 1-for-1, a blow for blow, whatever, like do it then. And like again, I'm not saying like I'm glad they didn't, maybe they were going to be like, oh, hey, you want to go after our MVP guy? That's not right. We're going to go after one of your other guys. Like, again, I don't think it's right either way. I don't think throwing at players, like, it's a baseball that can actually do damage. Like, players being hurt is bad for the sport. I don't want players being thrown at. Like, I get, the emotions at the time. I get, having your players' backs, like as a manager and as a fan, being behind your team. But it's just, to me, it's not necessary. It's like you said, Gabe. They're not the Kirk Gibson Dbacks. They're not doing this on purpose. And then the fact, double agree. You get one chance. If you can't hit him, and that's, I had that happen in high school before. My coach was like, "Oh, hit this guy." When like he put me in and just made me hit a guy just because he was mad that a kid pimped a home run. And I'm like, he hit it into a parking lot. Of course, I do the same thing. Missed the first one. He looked at me from the dugout and he was like, "Same sign." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, thanks, man." Like you get one. You don't get multiple. If you don't get the first one, move on. That's where it's a little bit weak from the Royals. Like again, I somewhat understand why they're gonna do it, but again, if you can't actually do it, just don't continue to do it.
Yeah, it is interesting. Some guys are really good at hitting guys on purpose. Some of them can't. Like, especially the ones
It's
that have
weird. You're trying your entire career. You're taught to not hit hitters and throw it over the middle.
Also, it's like we've seen what happens when a guy misses too far inside. Look at in 2014 when they broke Paul Goldschmidt's wrist. He had an MVP caliber season that year, and then the Pirates broke his wrist, and then I believe I don't
He
remember
hit
if it was
McCutcheon. It was
before.
Delgado that hit McCutcheon, I think, the next game.
Yeah. So and also McCutcheon hit him right in the back. Like it's a really dangerous play. Like could have dislocated some disc in his back. Could have caused some fractures in his back. Like that's what we're trying to get away from. We don't want that. We don't want our guys to get hurt because imagine if they decide to take exception and that they broke Gabby's wrist. What then? This team is screwed
our
without
season's
Gabby.
over.
It's
Yeah, and then
over.
are we gonna retaliate back for that? Like if there's
Yeah,
actual damage, like that's what I'm like. That's where I get that old school mindset, but to me, it's childish. Like it just makes no sense. Like you're gonna hurt your team in the long run, if anything. Because if you do retaliate again, if it does like actually seem intentional like that, if he did hurt Gabby, you're getting a suspension. The Royals are fighting for a playoff spot still. Like it's dumb.
and there's also
Yeah,
two more games
doesn't
at that point. There's two more games. It's like, are we just gonna keep beanbagging each other? Like, what if what if there's a mistake pitch? What if one of their pitchers makes a mistake pitch, and then they get suspended uh for a couple weeks? Like I said, both of these teams are fighting for a playoff spot. Any of these suspensions, whether anything after that would be intentional or not, you're talking about them getting suspended for a couple weeks, and we can't lose our guys and we can't lose their guys right now. Like it wasn't, at least on our side, it wasn't on purpose, and I don't truly believe it. And that I'm not being a homer. I truly don't think it was on purpose. Like I said, just we threw out a guy out there who was in AAA 2 weeks ago who can't hit the strike zone. Then we send him back down. Like, come on, y'all.
Yeah, he was
And like
actually sent down after this game.
it's not like it's a divisional opponent. There's no bad blood. Just because you're getting like a dude's gonna hit a cycle, like that's not like again, if they hit a cycle off you, cool. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. Those are hard, but it's a regular dude. It's a cycle. Like nobody's hitting somebody over the chance to get a cycle. Like, are you being serious? Come on, man. Be for real. What are we doing? He had another at bat after that too, and like what? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, this game was interesting.
I like Oscar's opinion too. A snowball fight, bring a little banana ball fun into it. You know what? If you guys got some aggression, snowball fight, a pillow fight, take one of those rubber chickens that just like every time you hit it, and just try to hit each other with that. Whoever gets the most, wins, and then you just hug it out, bro hug, move on. Like,
yeah, definitely interesting. Moving on to game 2. Jordan Montgomery comes back off the IL. Humberto Castellanos goes back down to Reno. Montgomery had a decent outing. I wouldn't say it was fantastic. I wouldn't say it was awful. It was decent. He goes 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, 2 Ks. He's if you look at it, he's 7-5, y'all. But it's that ERA. After this start, he's at 6.11. So it's still incredibly high, but he had his change working really well in this game. Like that is one thing I will say is that like he had great command of his changeup in this game. So that left me really excited. Bryce Jarvis, great job, kind of bridging the gap there for the 6th and the 7th. I thought he should have come out for the 8th, but that was just me personally. So, Gabe, how would you rate Monty's return, and what impressed you the most?
I think it's mostly like a solid B. He hasn't pitched in a while, so I mean, he threw 5 innings on 65 pitches, I believe, right? Just about 65 pitches.
67, yeah, just about.
67. Like he was efficient. He was getting ground outs. He was, putting the ball in play, which is what we've talked about before. That's who he is. He's not a big strikeout guy. So if you're expecting him to get a whole bunch of strikeouts and swing and miss, that's just kind of not who he is. And it's also the Royals. They're a good team at home. Like they're going to put the ball in play. But just the fact that he's able to get the soft contact and get the outs that he needed to, being, kind of surgical in his work yesterday. I thought he did a good job. That's why I said B. Just because he, I believe just one strikeout.
Yeah, it was one.
Probably should just two. Would like to see a few more, just because there's gonna be times where you're gonna need a big strikeout to end an inning, like either for momentum, and because you don't want to have to rely on your defense every single time.
Yeah, he was decent. He got the job done. Tori said that the pitch limit was between 65 and 70 pitches, and when he was going out for the 5th, I think he was at like 61, so he was worried. And then like he threw like 8 pitches in the 5th, so nice, quick, and efficient. Got the needed 5 wins to be the pitcher of record. Brett, what were your thoughts on Monty back?
I mean, I say it's either like a C plus, maybe a B minus is what I'd give his start. Actually, I'd say a B minus is still where it's at. Obviously, just the minus being 5 innings, still on short rests. If he could have gone like 6 more, obviously that's not on him. There could have been a little more efficient innings, but you still also take 67 pitches over 5 innings from most starting pitchers any day of the week that aren't coming off the IL. So, that, I mean, as Gabe said, a more soft contact than hard contact with a 9-6 on that. The fastball sinker was still pretty good speed. I think the sinker he was touching like 93. Yeah, I got it up to 93.6 max, average 92 point. Or sorry, the fastball 93.6, average on 90.3, and then the sinker averaged just about 91.5. So decent velo coming off of it. So it's nice. It's not like dipping a bunch. He threw a bunch of every pitch, kept everything relatively out of the middle of the zone, which was really nice. His curveball and changeup he kept even lower, trying to get some of those like swing and misses rollovers. So that's some decent signs to see. I know a lot of people, especially online, are very upset with this 5 innings still. And even one of the discords, and I saw like, well, shit, Monty, and I was expecting it was like 6 runs. I'm like, damn, 5 innings, 1 run on like coming off the IL, like. What, okay, like I'll take that. I'm not going to be upset about that at all. I agree. I'd like to see more, just like we talked about with Ryan. That we'll get to.
He had a pitch limit, and
that's what I'm saying. Like it's not his fault. I know he didn't look pretty. I know the Bobby Witt Jr. The game didn't start great, so I get it. Like especially out of the gate, going, "Whoa, looks terrible," and coming from me, the overreactionary. I get it, but I think overall it was still a pretty decent start for him missing at that time and having to face still a pretty good team at home.
The most important thing is just that he gave the team a chance to win, which is something you can't unfortunately say about Yobert. By the time he was done pitching, game was kind of over, which is something that we've asked about Monty. Like we know he's this is kind of a throwaway year for him just because of the injuries and not pitching until whenever he pitched. When did he start? Like May or whatever it was.
I think like May against
signing late, having to ramp up and injuries. Like we know this year's a wash for him, but all we're asking is give us 5 innings, 1 or 2 runs, put this team in a chance to win, because we can't have more starts of him going 3 innings, 6, 7 runs. Like we need to be able to be in all these games. So we have about 60 games left. We need to be able to be in every single one of these because if we're going to reach the record we had last year, I believe we have to win 32 more. And 32 out of 60, it's a tall ask.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
wrong at all.
Yeah, that's definitely. Ketel Marte had a very interesting home run in this game. He now has home runs in back-to-back games. What's interesting here is you can't see it, and they played it on the broadcast. It basically cuts right in front of the pole, and it nicks the foul pole. Initially, it's called foul. Ketel obviously saw that it hit the pole, and he started running around. Torrey even said he was going to challenge it. So had they not ruled it a home run, he was going to challenge it anyway because he was also in a good angle. He was in the third base dugout. It looks exactly down that line. So he either he saw it or
I mean, it seems pretty easy to know just the baseball's trajectory. When it quickly changes like that out of nowhere. There's usually one or two options, either a camera wire, which there's not any by a foul pole, or the foul pole. So that's why I was like, I mean, I understand why Ketel's like, I'm not going to have you guys make me do the Michael Morrison ghost swing from years ago and have me redo this. I'm just going to start running now. You guys can count it, and then we're good to go.
Yeah. He after this game, he's batting .294. He's getting very close to 300. And that kind of leads us into game 3. And game 3, Ketel does it again. This time in the 9th inning, we're up 5-4. And what transpired in the 9th inning, this was the difference in the game. This does not happen, we lose the game. So he continues to pad that MVP resume. I know a lot of you in Philly and LA are like, no, Marte's not an MVP candidate. Yes, he is. Go look at his WAR. Just go look at his WAR. Like, he's playing phenomenal defense. He's hitting for average. He's hitting for power. Ketel Marte deserves to be in the MVP conversation. I'm not saying he should win it, but there's a discussion.
At least a few votes, like at least some votes.
Yeah, basically, it's not going to be a unanimous MVP for Shohei, in my opinion. I think Ketel might get one or two first place votes. He's now on a 3-game home run streak. He's approaching 300 average. Gabe, does he have any chance to make this MVP discussion close? Or is it, as long as Ohtani continues to do what he's done, it's Ohtani's to lose?
I think some stuff needs to happen. Like I mentioned it before, just these sort of accounting stats, the typical stats of 300 average, 900 OPS, 30 home runs, 100 RBI. That's kind of like almost the bare minimum requirement for the MVP. And he's at 22 home runs. Like he's right around that area. He's closing in on 60 RBI, I believe. He's looking really, really good. He's at 294. He's getting a lot of hits. He's putting up that walk rate as well. Like he's looking very, very good. Oh, he's at 64 RBI now, and 22 home runs. Like he's, as you know, if he stays healthy, he keeps up what he's been doing, especially lately. Like he's been on a tear. So he's able to do that, get over 300, get over 30 home runs. I think, like you said, Shohei, he might be doing Shohei stuff and being in LA, and LA might win a division. But if Ketel keeps this up, you're talking, like you said, this probably won't be a unanimous thing. You might be talking about just getting a couple first place votes, and if he ends up, second or third behind Ohtani, behind Bryce Harper, like I'd take that. Like imagine being in a conversation with those 3 guys. Like, and if Ketel is anywhere near an MVP discussion, you're just talking about the D-backs being in the playoff race as well. And as of right now, I mean, he is how many points? He's less than 20 points behind Shohei in average. obviously that OPS just because Otani just is ridiculous at hitting home runs. But Otani, I wouldn't say he's slumping, but he's sliding back just a tiny, tiny bit. And that's kind of all you might need. Just like with the NL wildcard race, a really good week can make all the difference.
And I think a lot of us forget he signed that contract extension, which to me right now looks like a massive bargain. 5 years, 76 million. He's in year 2 of that. He has a club option in 2028. This man is gonna probably be a D-back for life. Like, you can tell he
Build the
loves
statue.
playing for this organization.
Do you know
He
who the
loves
second
being in
member of
Phoenix.
the D-backs Hall of Fame is?
Like, he
Or
loves.
third? It's number 4.
We all know it's gonna be Goldie. Yeah, like it's.
I mean,
it's
yeah,
gonna be, which, speaking of, make sure you go to the game on Saturday. They are having that the Hall of Fame induction ceremony before the game against the Pirates. So make sure to go ahead and check that out if you're in the Valley. I think that'd be really cool to see. Brett, like, what were your just overall just your thoughts on what Cattell had literally done for the last calendar year?
I mean, he's been on an absolute tear. Ever since missing out on the All-Star game last year, I know he had a very good chance, just missed out because of, I think, a few weeks of just not hitting super well. So ever since then, he's felt slighted, kept it going into the playoffs, was hitting all spring training, has literally just not missed a beat. He is genuinely a machine. He's a man on a mission. The only sad part is I think he definitely should get at least a few first place MVP votes. I'm hoping that there's at least going to be like 5 possibly, but I think
It's
with the
probably
fact
going to be from local beat writers.
which again I would at
It's
least expect that. I would at least expect that, which I'm okay with. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a very good, majority and maybe even some locals of the ones here that have votes that just, fall into the no DH has ever won the MVP. Shohei Ohtani is basically living up to the hype that, the prince. It's like the LeBron of baseball, the prince that was promised. I'm just stealing that because I want to, use that like that title and shit. He's doing things that everyone was hoping that he would be when he came over here. Now he's with the Dodgers and he's gonna get to be in the playoffs finally. He's carrying them without Mookie and just doing all these like. I think all the story and the hype with it is going to be a big reason that carries Ohtani to the award. But if Cattell can continue doing what he's doing and the D-backs can secure a spot and actually make the playoffs, I think he has a really good chance at least to have a valid argument to get votes to where it's not hey, Cattell, at least has, if you're talking with somebody online, you can bring up Cattell Marte and it's not immediately just, okay, yeah, but look at Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, Shohei Ohtani's doing it, but look, he's still got Freddie Freeman. He's still gonna have Mookie Betts back soon. It's not just him. Where
He doesn't play defense.
He doesn't play defense. Cattell's like the best second baseman defensively, and has been hitting like insane. Which is, I was looking at the WAR leaderboards. It's a little weird. Fangraphs. I think they just really enjoy, or really, I don't know exactly how they calculate it, but Cattell is 4th in the NL in WAR. Shohei Ohtani is 5.4, Ellie De La Cruz is 4.9, Frankie Lindor 4.6, and Marte at 4.4, just ahead of Bryce Harper with 4.3. But if you're on Fangraphs, they have Marte at number 2 behind Ohtani, Ohtani at 5.6, and then Marte at 5.2. Nobody else is even over 4.2 with Lindor and then Hunter Green both at 4.1. So it's a little bit
Hunter Green?
Yeah, for the Reds.
The starting pitcher?
Yep, he's got a 4.1 WAR. He is a 7-4, 3.14 ERA, 117 innings, 131 strikeouts, 1091.
I didn't realize he was that good.
Yeah, I genuinely didn't think he'd have that big of a WAR either. But maybe it's just because he just wins a lot. I don't know. He only has 7 wins. That's weird. WAR is a weird stat, man. We need another 5.
It
10
really
years.
is.
I think we need another 5-10 years before we can genuinely use it as like the true like all in all stat of how people kind of looked at batting average and all that for so many years. But
I
yeah,
think
I think Cattell has a chance.
recently, I think some sort of accounting setting war changed, so it put up some guys' numbers and lowered down some other guys. Like literally, in the last week or so, like there's some weird change to the wars. So certain guys career
Wait, no,
war.
Gabe, I'm sorry. War never changed. I'm sorry. I had to. I'm sorry. You can boo me. It's right there. The opportunity for the meme.
Boo. But yeah, it's just especially with pitchers. Once it comes to like any sort of pitching war, I'm like, just shut up. Like I don't care. Like Aaron Nola had like an 11 pitching war with like a 3.5 ERA. And, like war is meaningless for pitchers.
Yeah, it definitely is. I want to give a shout out to Jock Peterson. Got his 200th career home run in this game. Congratulations. That is the. I
Also,
will say
his
this.
30th ballpark. He finally got to play in.
Yeah.
He's played in all 30 ballparks.
Yeah, like he's just this signing, and I will say this on almost every broadcast. Mike Hazen hit it out of the park with this Jock Randall Grichuk platoon DH signings. Like this has worked out so well. Like I was very lukewarm and mid on the whole Jock Peterson, Randall Grichuk. Like I didn't like that. Did not move the needle for me. Completely changed. Like they have been so consistent all year. Like they both have been hitting pretty consistently most of the year. And like we will see stretches where it's just Jock every game, and then it's Grichuk. It just depends on the matchups. I mean, Jock occasionally will bat against a lefty. He usually gets out. Like his lefty splits are just not good. It is like it's just bad. Christian Walker hit his first home run since Dodger Stadium, which seems crazy to me.
What the hell?
Yes. Yeah, that seems crazy to me that he hadn't hit one since that insane 72 hours he had at Dodger Stadium. Gino's power surge continues. Thank God. We need this so bad. And like I said, one home run a series is fine with me because that's 2 a week. That is complete. I'm completely content with him getting one home run a series, which it feels like he's done that for the last 2 weeks. Like it just feels like he's consistently hitting home runs. He's at 12 now. 20, 25.
I didn't realize it's 12.
Yeah. 20 is within reach. 25 seems a bit more difficult, but if he hits 20, then everything we said about like Gino, you can hit 210 for all I care. But if you have 20 home runs, and we're right, like if you look at the wild card standings, we're not that far back of the Braves, y'all. We're not. It's like
the Mets and the Padres. We need
of
them to lose too.
Like, yeah, the thing with the Padres is we don't play them to the last series of the year, so that's going to be huge. But
one thing that I wanted to touch on really quick before you go on the offense, the rest of the offense, was when you talked about the DH thing. I forgot to send in the group chat earlier, but Brooksgate had another stat, and they ranked teams OPS at the DH position in the lineup by team rank. The Dbacks are third. Red Sox have a 908. A's have an 887. Dbacks have an 840 ahead of the Dodgers, who have an 830. So the Dbacks combined OPS at DH is hitting better than Shohei Ohtani. You know, if you want to play some money ball with some numbers, fun stat.
Who the hell is their other DH? Because Ohtani has like an 1100 OPS.
Probably Teoscar, I would imagine, on games when Ohtani's not hitting there.
He must have what? Like, I mean, the way the average would work out, everyone else is like, what, at 600 or 700 OPS? That's not Ohtani.
I know it's not Lux.
Yeah. But no, ninth inning was huge in this game. Gabby is. I know his. That's not the one I want. Is it?
No, that was they were red today.
Hold up. Yeah. Here it is. This is the one I want. Yeah, like goes the other way, which he's so good. He's so good when he goes the other way. He is so good. Oh, look, Domo was on base. Again, some sort of big offensive thing happens, and Perdomo's involved somehow. Like, if you box score, you would think Domo's not that great. He just does things that don't show up in a box score. Made a phenomenal defensive play in this game, too. Like, Domo has been. This team has changed so much because of Domo. It's just things that you can't prove or quantify is what Domo's doing. Like, there's just. And with Alec being back, like, the vibes are there, y'all. Like, we kind of joked about it, like, them coming back's not going to fix it, but it just feels like they are clicking, and like we said last year, a connected team is a dangerous team. And they're hitting their stride really well right now. I'm very curious at this time next week who will be on the roster and who will not be on the roster. Because I feel like a move has to be made. Hazen has to make some sort of move. So, yeah. I think we need we probably need 2 bullpen arms, really. Because I cannot handle the Miguel Castro experience. And Paul Sewald, can you stop giving us heart attacks when you come into games? I swear. It is... I don't know what's going on, but, like, the last month, he's, like... Every time he comes in, I can't watch. Like, he came into this game, it's 8-4. I'm like, oh, we're good. No. Gives up a 2-out RBI single. It's now 8-6. Run on first. Salvador Perez comes up. When he hit that, I was like, oh, dear God, that's out. Initially. And then...
That cameraman thought it was, too.
Yes, and that's what got me was the cameraman. Because he immediately points, like... to the fence, but then freaking Gurriel's like halfway in the. I was like, okay, so we escape with that one. What Brett did with that DH stat? Yeah, Brett really.
That was a Brooksgate. That was a Brooksgate stat. That is not my stat. I want to make sure he gets credit for that. That was a Brooksgate stat, but I just relayed it to here. So we can use that to start a dialogue, but I want to make sure credit goes where credit is deserved.
Yeah, I think you're saying. Oh, you can go ask the question. I'm probably gonna answer the same thing.
How much longer can you handle this Paul Sewald up and down roller coaster?
I don't know. I think he is getting the job done, but as we've seen,
he's the closer.
It's not in convincing. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like we're late enough into the season where you can't experiment anymore. You can't throw out, the Thompson or Ginkle. I mean, maybe you can, just on days where he's probably not available. Same with Martinez. Like, there's certain guys who I would trust
Martinez this weekend. That didn't go very well.
But he also pitched 3 days in a row. Like any of these guys, Thompson, Sewald, or Ginkle, they all were probably going to blow the game if you put them in again, because it's the third time the Cubs are going to see them. They'd all thrown well over 30 pitches. Like, it was going to happen. Like, I don't understand putting him out there. I put it with Jarvis. But anyways, yeah, so the issue, I think, with Sewald is, even if you look at, you said the last month, but it's more than the last month. It's been since he's come back. He has missed so much in the zone. He's throwing fastball straight down the middle. We've talked about it, like, oh, maybe just enough movement that he's able to get away with it. And we reached the point where he's not getting away with it anymore. He's getting a lot more hard contact on those ones. Like, if you look at the Michael Garcia, 90-mile-per-hour fastball straight down the middle for a single. Kyle Isbell, a fastball, 91-mile-per-hour fastball, just an inch outside the middle of the zone. For that one was a pop out. Garrett Hampson, line out, an inch right outside the middle of the zone. Same thing, 91-mile-per-hour fastball. Bobby Wood Jr., fastball almost straight down the middle. Vinny Pescotino, fastball straight down the middle. Salvador Perez, the flyout, which went 750 feet, except it landed at 200. 84-mile-per-hour sweeper, almost straight down the middle. all of the outs were straight down the middle. He didn't strike anybody out. He didn't miss anything at the bottom of the zone. Like everything was straight down the middle. Like I it's almost I know we've said like just enough movement maybe, but another team is going to take advantage of this, and we've seen this. He missed a whole bunch against the Dodgers and the Padres. Like a 4-run lead isn't safe with Paul Sewald. We've seen this in the last few weeks. A 4-run lead isn't safe. He blew a 3-run lead with the Dodgers. He blew a 4-run lead, I think, with the Padres. Either one. Like he, I don't know what to do with him because he's still on contract. He's still our closer. Like I said, he got the job done technically. Like, but he wasn't convincing with the Cubs either. He had two guys on like this, really hard hit double or single or whatever could blow the game right open again. And with this one, they had the Royals had a chance to win the game. It just they were able to get Salvador Perez. He's just not the guy he was a couple years ago. Like if you're facing off against the Philadelphia Phillies, if they have Schwarber coming up there, they have Turner, Harper, Castellanos. If there's a national tragedy, Castellanos is a monster. So
Bro,
Like-
with our news cycle, I don't even want to know what
I-
pitcher has to face
yeah.
Castellanos with like these next few months especially
my
you do if they, oh my god, October when playoff baseball comes around with all this with the news cycle,
yeah,
it's over. It's over for anybody that's not the Phillies, dude.
Castellanos
Yeah,
with
so-
the deep fly ball to left.
as there's another terrorist attack on 9/11 or something. Like it's one of those things where, like at least talking about Seawall again, like if we're facing against these teams, especially if we make it to the playoffs, like do we trust him? Like do we seriously trust a guy who's missing with fastballs straight down the middle? Like we said, we know he can get away with it, but you want those fastballs way higher outside the zone, not straight down the middle, because like I said, better hitters are going to be able to take advantage of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's, dude. I get it. I think we have to ride the way with him. He's still gonna be our closer no matter what. It's just gonna be. Hopefully, we give him enough runs, and he can. I figured maybe a 4-run lead, him coming in, he'd have enough confidence, and that's why I was like, oh, maybe I'll go finish the episode of The Boys that me and the wife were watching, and then before we jump on here, and then that's why when my mom texts me, usually whenever it's something good, it means the game's over. So I'm like, heck yeah, we must have finished it off. Good job, Paul. And then I see Brandon in the group chat is like, I was sweating. I'm like, oh God, no, please tell me you didn't make it close. And then I see that final Salvador Perez fly out, and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, this is gonna be a rough stretch to end the season with Paul. And again, I love Paul. I still believe in him. I'll still believe him when he gets the ball. It doesn't mean I'm gonna have a heart attack every time he throws a pitch.
For me, it depends on who he's facing. If he's facing guys that crush fastballs, I'm like, Paul, just don't leave it in the middle of the plate.
I mean, I'm pretty sure 95% of the league can crush a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And 92 is
so
being generous.
We escaped with that one. We won another series. We're now 3 games over 500, and we're facing another team that we're battling in the wild card. We're now we have a weekend series against the Pittsburgh Pirates. On the
Sadly, we
manager
missed Paul
keeping-
Skeens.
Torrey is a good manager. Y'all can just chill out. If he wasn't a good manager, why did we make the World Series last year?
Because
mean,
of the vibes. It was the vibes.
No, I am sick of the people trying to push this narrative that Torrey is a bad manager. He's not.
Yeah, that was a
dumbhead
clear.
moves sometimes. Yes.
That was.
But he's
I'm
a
sorry. That was a
good
smart
manager.
decision for him to put Paul Sewald on there to give him a confidence. That was a confidence boosting thing. It's just unfortunate that,
Yes.
like, there's no reason. Again, it's a closer. When your closer's there, if you're winning, you don't take your closer out. I get it. It's stressful. I get it. It can look bad, especially with a 4-run lead non-safe situation. But still, you gotta ride with your dude no matter what. That's part of being a good manager. Still, you can't just hit the red panic button. no matter what, like I get it. Sometimes it feels like it. If he blows the lead, yeah. If the game gets, if Salvador Perez sends that one out, yes, Paul Sewald is definitely going to come out and it's gonna suck. But like I don't think you can blame Torrey one bit for leaving Paul Sewald in there. Like sometimes it's on the players more than it's on the manager because they're the ones actually on the field that are executing. The players are the ones that are throwing the pitches right down the middle. The players are the ones that are not swinging at the pitches right down the middle. The players are the one making the errors. It's not the manager that's controlling them like MLB The Show. It's not always Torrey Lovello's fault. Yes, sometimes when they make a decision, it gets highlighted and it's rough. I've been a critic of him at times as well. I'm not going to say I haven't been. But it's not always, every single decision is not always on Torrey Lovello. Every single pitch is not on Torrey Lovello.
Paul Sewald started 11-11 in save opportunities this season. He was great last season when we got him and through the postseason. So many people are have so much recency bias that they're like, oh no, Torrey's bad. He took us to the World Series last year. Paul Sewald is a good closer. All closers struggle. They all do. They all have stretches where they look awful. And
Yeah,
Paul's
the
just
thing
in
is,
one
like
of those.
Oscar, I was just saying, like Boone needs to be fired. That's the sentiment of the Yankees fans. Like the thing is, I mean, Dank Lemon has a point to a certain extent, which is, you can. A lot of fans think look at Dave Roberts. The Dodger fans hate Dave Roberts. Anytime he does literally, and anytime he breathes, they want him fired. Same, like there's no manager that I feel gets away with, the ire of the fans. I mean, Phillies fans and Phillies commentators, they'll rag on Thompson, like especially during the playoffs, like they're going in on him and the rest of the Phillies, and like, oh, it's on him for this move and that move. They were on him for putting in whatever that guy's name is at the end of Game 7 to hit the to pinch hit. They got on him for that. It's just the way fandom is. Like we're gonna criticize these guys because at times we do feel like we know better, but also it's like there's times where you see a certain move where you're like, why that guy? Like putting in Castellanos with the bases loaded and one out. Like I won't say that Torrey's perfect because he's not. He's made a lot of boneheaded decisions. He makes a lot of decisions that really hurt this team at times. Like I've mentioned it before, there's a lot of times where I feel like he punts away games. He can't punt away games anymore. We're 59 games. We have 59 games left. We can't afford to punt away games. We can't afford for him to say afterwards, I like that guy in this situation, or it's a long season. Like we're not in a long season anymore. We're at the home stretch. We're trying to make the playoffs, and good manager or not, he has the team he has now. If his only option is Jordan Luplow, then he's gonna have to play Jordan Luplow. Like Hazen has talked about it in 2021. And Hazen said it himself. He takes a lot of blame for 2021 and 2020s. He said, like, this is the team I gave him. Like that's why he didn't fire him then. He didn't fire him in 22. He gave an extension for 23. It's just because they have a good enough repertoire. These guys are willing to die for him. Like he's a good manager, not above criticizing. So I'll say that he's not above being criticized, just like any other guy. Like I think the national media, the local media should do a lot better job of criticizing him and questioning him for his decisions.
Yeah, like I think he's a good manager, but I will say when I think he makes dumbheaded moves or makes moves that I'm like, Torrey, what are like that just doesn't make sense to me. But he's a good manager. He's the second best manager we've had in franchise history, right behind Brenly. There's no debate about that. Now, if Torrey brings a championship back here, I think he clears Brenly. I think he does. But that's just me. He's done it longer and more consistently.
And he would have had to build the team, build the culture where, like, not saying that they didn't have the culture somewhat built, but even in 01, they definitely bought the team a little bit more than they did. I say the dude in...
Yeah.
So Gabe spits lemon. Gabe spits facts, and I fully agree. That's what I'm like. I wasn't trying to sound like a full on like Torrey's fully blameless. Like Yeah, he does makes. I agree.
He's
I
not.
wish like some of I wish there would be more questions like you get from some of the other or to some of the other managers, like not necessarily New York media because they're a little harsh at times with managers and stuff, but just a little bit more like just asking them questions like
This is what needs to be done for the Yankees. Brian Cashman.
yeah, say just like just accountability, like just hold them accountable, like. Not you don't got to make him look stupid, but just kind of be like, hey, so like, what was the thought process? Like, what were you going through? Like, made the decision just to get an explanation. I'd rather have an explanation than just not even having the thought being addressed or have it being a softball question where it's like, you were really handcuffed there. How did that feel? It's like, okay, like it really depends on how you word the question there,
Yeah. So, we're facing the Pirates here coming up. Depending on how you look at it, we are lucky or you might be sad. Paul Skeens is
I'm personally sad. I'm personally sad. I wanted to see him in person this weekend.
Yeah, I did too, but it helps us because the matchups definitely favor us Friday and Saturday. Sunday's going to be tough against Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller is really good. But again, all I ask, series win. Because we are like basically we're in the same spot as the Pirates are. Right there in the thick of the wild card race. Have good pitching, have some solid young players, some good core veterans. They're probably going to be looking to make some moves at the trade deadline. Their owner said he doesn't want to spend money, so they may be like a soft buy. Be like getting
so
a
bad
really
for that franchise's fan base, man.
Do you think they're ready to compete though?
No.
Do you think they're ready? I don't think so either.
I could see them soft buying a little bit, just to not go trade for anything. Like if they just stand pat and don't do anything, that's what's like, okay, like come on, like get something. Like don't need to go get a Crochet. Don't need to go trade for one of those guys. But do some like Brenton Rooker, I think would be a really good ad for them.
I think that's too much because rumor is A's are asking a lot for Brent Rooker because they have been rumored. Pirates have been rumored for Brent Rooker, and A's are asking for a lot, as they should, just like Mason Miller. Like, I would love to hear what the discussions are with Mason Miller. Like, they're like, we want 5 of your top prospects, or some crazy thing like that. But yeah, just get a series win. Gabe, just quick thoughts on what you want to see out of the Pirates series.
Yeah, just mostly that. Just a series win because I don't expect to sweep the Pirates. They are, a pretty hot team at the moment, so I don't expect them to sweep. But a series win, just keep winning series. We've won, I don't even know how many series in a row. Like other than the Brave series, we've been winning. We've been winning quite a few, so and that's what we've been asking for. Just win series. We love sweeps, but if we can't get the sweep, get the series win. The Pirates Saturday is the shirt day. Go get your shirts. Wish we could face Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens an animal. Like, that Cy Young pick I made earlier is looking a little bit, like it's might come true, hopefully. But yeah, the Pirates are an exciting team. Like, go out and support the team. Like, the Pirates are good. Dbacks are good. They're both young, exciting teams. So should be a really good, fun series.
So we haven't had a series loss in 7 straight series. So we either won or split a 4-game in basically the last month.
The Braves, I think 4-game was the split, yeah.
We also split with the Padres. Oh wait, no, that was a 3-game. That was the other one. That was it. So yeah,
that was at the beginning.
Yeah, Braves were the only split that we had. Which after watching those first 2 games, I would have said there's no way in hell that they're splitting that, but they did. So Brett, just quick thoughts on what you want to see versus the Pirates.
Interesting to see how the D-backs set the pitching rotation this weekend because all 3 days are to be decided for them. Like, it'll be strange. Like I was saying earlier, I'm a little sad that we're missing Paul Skeens here. I think it's somewhat of a benefit. I know Mitch Keller's going to be tough, but maybe that's a good thing because they struggle against guys that throw really hard fastballs. And Paul Skeen's just been really good, like just insanely good. So I think he just has a little bit of extra juice in him. But I do believe we will end up facing him when the D-backs go to Pittsburgh the week after. Because I think we face the Pirates this weekend, then we have the Nationals coming to town Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, have Thursday off, then I think it's next Friday, Saturday, Sunday we're in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And because I was looking at
correct.
the Pirates schedule, and I think it was lining it up to where he should pitch the second or the first game of the Astros series, I believe, is who they're up against after us, and then he will land on that final Sunday. So we will face him, just not going to be here this upcoming series.
Kind of a bummer. I really wanted to see him in person as well. We appreciate everyone here for tuning into us via YouTube on our Dbacks Dispatch YouTube. We're on Twitter, Dbacks Dispatch. Make sure to go ahead and check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or wherever you find your audio podcast. We are on there as well. So our next episode will be Sunday, recapping the Pirates series. We will also be doing a emergency podcast, I guess you could say, even though it's planned, Tuesday, probably 5:30, going over the trade deadline, just giving our thoughts and reactions on it. I think we're going to make some sort of move. I'm not sure if it's going to be big or small. Dink, thanks. We appreciate that very much. Go ahead and check out the channel. If we have a lot of other episodes on there. So if you want to just kind of go back and maybe there's a series you want to hear our thoughts on, go ahead and check that out. We appreciate the subscription there. Do what Dink just did, everyone. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell. That way you get notified whenever we go live. Make sure to
In
like
that chat,
the video.
get activated.
It helps. And then try to, if you can, join us here live and interact with us. We always like to give your thoughts. So we will see y'all on Sunday.